Try now that the recording has started.
Recording, how's the volume?
Perfect
Fine
now.
again.
That was it.
Calling the meeting to order at 3:10 p.m. And we have present in person, Commissioners Joan Greason, Kit Ledbetter, Brady Smith. And
Yeah,
present,
you're going in and out, Brady.
I don't know why that is.
The microphone is here.
Yeah, but it should pick up. It's designed to pick us up. How's the volume now? Can you hear me now?
We might have to go to the traditional Zoom method. You're going in and out audio wise, Brady.
Okay.
I can't currently hear you.
Nor I, but I can hear Jenny.
You have your mic on your Zoom.
No.
If you turn on your mic, maybe you
No,
could
then we
speak
get
to that.
feedback. Right.
Okay, then I will disable the owl.
Yeah, it has to, otherwise.
For some reason, we can hear Chom, but not you, Brady.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, I will disconnect the owl.
I guess.
Audio on just to make sure. So now we're getting the echo.
Echo. Okay. Can you try again?
Can you hear me now? This way?
Speak again, Brady.
Can you hear me now? We do it this way.
Not really.
Nope.
Maybe you should turn your mic off and I'll turn mine on for the facilitation part. I'm going to turn my mic on.
Okay.
Can you turn your mic off in Zoom?
I thought I did, but
Or your volume on your device has to be off too.
yeah, it is off. I'm not sure why it's not able. Hello.
How do you turn your volume off on the computer?
Yeah, the radio seat is zero.
That's
Hearing test.
all right. How's the volume now?
Good.
I can hear you great, Brady. We can't see anyone, but
We had to disable the owl. That was, I think, the audio issue as well. So this is, I think, the best we can do at this point.
if you and Chom turn on your video so we can at least see both of you, I think that would work better too. See, now I can see Chom.
Yes.
And now I can see Brady and Kit's there too. I can see everyone. That's
Okay.
perfect.
Let's try that.
Yes.
We did call to order officially at 3:10. Moving into our agenda now. I'm facilitating because board chair is remote. I noted the roll call of attendees. Our first action is to approve today's agenda. Do I have a
I
motion?
so move.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. Is there a second?
Second.
I have. How should I talk without echoing? Is that better? Okay. Weird to hear myself, but I do have some questions. I understand that we want to move quickly, but I have a concern. Firstly, I think the levy resolution language is already on the agenda, even though we have not made a final decision yet on the levy timing. And there's already a perception within the community that the April ballot was already a foregone conclusion. And, for example, like the Family Resource Center board made two separate posts on Lopez Rock saying that the revised levy will appear on the April ballot, but we have not decided that yet. We have not decided on that. Correct? Is that correct?
Correct. We have
Yes.
not made a motion or.
That's correct, but just
Then,
That's
yeah.
the correct information they have.
Okay. Then I feel like in terms of the procedures, it would would have been ideal to arrive at the decision on the ballot timing before proceeding to do a first read of the resolution language. But it's too late now to add that to the agenda because, I think we just can't add it after the agenda is posted. Therefore, I just would like to note for the record that, that we are doing a first read of the resolution without levy resolution without the decision on the timing.
Hey,
And
Chum,
that's what
Chum, the levy resolution is the
to
timing. So
consider
we have,
to ask the commission to consider a request to add public input, community input on the agenda. One thing that we decide on is that we consider impacts on the school sports, the chance of success, and voter sentiment in deciding whether or not we will proceed with putting the levy on the ballots in the timing and the amount. And I actually, as a commissioner and also a member of the budget committee, have reached out and received numerous inputs from the community. And I think that the inputs that we received are very relevant to the consideration of the levy resolution and success of the levy. Therefore, I would like to propose that we allow for some time to consider the community inputs so that we can be more successful in our effort.
So you're suggesting an amendment to the agenda.
Right.
And what would you'd like to add?
I would like to allow for some time to consider the inputs that we have received from the community.
But I heard that, but just so like for the agenda, what would it look like on the agenda? What you're suggesting we add?
We are adding a presentation of the community inputs that we have received.
Okay.
Or discussion, whatever you want to call it.
And the first piece was about the levy timing in relationship to the draft levy resolution that we're doing first read on. Was there an agenda change to that you're recommending?
No, I think it's too late
Okay.
to do that. Just wanted to note for the record that,
Well, the first read is of a draft.
yes.
The second read is when it gets approved.
yeah, the procedure is that you have a levy resolution in order to consider a time.
During the first read.
So
Yeah.
So that's why it's a two-step
The only-
process. That's why we added this meeting,
Yeah.
I think. For sure.
Okay.
We completed a two-step process.
the only way for us to decide on the timing and the amount of
So there's a
the place on-
request
Can
or a
anyone hear me?
motion, I guess, to
Only me, I
add
guess.
presentation of comments. Any further discussion?
Can
Wait,
you hear us? Can anyone hear us?
Are you all hearing me on Zoom? I can't tell
We
anymore.
We
hear
hear
you.
you.
Can
Can
you hear
you
us?
hear us?
Can you speak? Jenny, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you
Oh,
hear
I
me?
cannot hear her. Okay, let's see.
Somebody needs to turn volume on so you can hear us.
Hold on, Jenny, we can't hear you.
we know.
Okay.
Oh, there.
Can you hear me now?
I
Lynn?
can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. So just to clarify, the resolution is the first reading of it, and that's how we place the timing and an amount when we do it next time. So this meeting was added as a way to just have a first reading on a couple of things. We're making no decisions based upon those first readings. We're just reading them so the public has an opportunity to see them if they want. And so we as commissioners can provide some input if we have any requests for modification to them. So procedurally, we're great to go on that. No worries. Cho made a motion. I would not agree with that, but I would love to do it at Thursday's meeting. We have not had an opportunity to put that feedback together in a presentable format, but I do think it's a good idea, and I would move that go on Thursday's agenda and not today.
So that would essentially mean there's two motions, one to add it and one to put it on Thursday. And we're still in approval of agenda phase here. So any other discussion of the agenda? Okay. So we have two options. So we'll go with the first option, Chom's motion to add presentation of comments to today's agenda. So approving the agenda as written with the addition of a presentation of comments. All in favor?
I think we need a second.
We already had a second and we're in
Okay.
discussion
Okay.
now. So,
Okay.
and there was no further
I didn't
discussion,
hear
I
it was
think.
second.
So now we're going to,
Okay, sorry, one more thing I forgot. And that is, I wonder if the public here or on Zoom would like an opportunity to comment. That's another question I forgot to ask. Is that something?
we're in the agenda approval. So do you want to add something else to the agenda?
Yeah, I would like to add public comment to allow the public in attendance to comment if they would like to.
My input on that, again, I would love to hear public comment, but I'd like to do it at Thursday's meeting. This is intended to be, a meeting where we're having some first readings and we're getting business achieved. And just as a procedural thing, if my battery dies, I'll join by my phone.
Any other discussion? Lynn, anything? No? Okay. So can I combine those suggestions, Chom? So we have the motion to add a presentation of comments and public comment to today's agenda. And then Jenny has suggested that we add presentation of comments and public comment to Thursday's agenda. Those are the two motions that are on the table currently. Any further discussion? Okay. So we'll start with the first one. All in favor of approving the agenda as written with the addition of a presentation of comments and public comment on today's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay.
Aye.
I didn't hear Jenny.
I'm a nay
Okay.
on it, but I do
Oh.
want to hear it next time.
Well, so that's the second motion so that motion does not pass. The motion to add a presentation of comments and public comment to our meeting on Thursday. So approving agenda as written for today and a motion to add public comment and presentation of comments to Thursday's agenda. Those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed?
Aye.
Opposed would be
Oh,
no
you
or
say no?
nay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
But okay, all right. So
Sorry.
the motion to put presentation of comments and public comment on Thursday's agenda has passed. That also approves today's agenda as written. So moving on to new business, resolution 26-01, first reading. This is the draft resolution, ballot levy resolution. Commissioners received?
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone received? And Lynn, you're prepared to track changes for second reading? So if we agree on changes, we can approve at a second reading?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no motion necessary for a first read, so opening the draft resolution to discussion.
I have one thing in the resolution that's at the very end and saying that I have a budget proposal that may not include summer camp. And it's in there, I think, in the resolution. So I'm not sure how we handle that.
Sorry, what's in the resolution?
Keep going down.
That's the signature
yeah. I think it's saying what we're gonna do. I'm sorry, I can't keep coming. Yeah, right here.
Can someone share the screen of the resolution language?
Okay, I'm not seeing it, sorry.
Well, you received it, Joan.
did, yeah.
Let's
was
go
not
down.
sure how to-
Hold on, I still have the floor.
And we're not on the screen.
Yeah, if you can get on there. Keep coming down, I'm sorry.
Down this way, you mean?
Yeah, it's saying what we'll do. Okay.
Lopez, whereas Lopez Island Park and Recreation District, locally known as Lopez Rec, is in its first year of operation and is currently operating without funding. And whereas levies for park and recreation districts are limited to 6 years and a maximum of 60 cents. And whereas per RCW 3669-010, park and recreation districts are authorized to provide leisure time activities and facilities and recreational facilities of a nonprofit nature as a public service to the residents of their geographical areas. And whereas Lopez Rec as a park and recreation district is authorized by RCW 3934-010 to enter into contracts and to operate jointly with other governmental units, any facilities or property. And whereas the Lopez Island School District has requested that Lopez Island Park and Recreation District provide funding for the Lopez School Sports Program due to the school's inability to fund this program. And whereas the Lopez School District is prepared to offer use of school facilities to the Lopez Island Park and Recreation District through an interlocal agreement to provide recreational activities. And whereas funding for out-of-school programming needs long-term stable funding, now therefore be it resolved by the Lopez Island Park and Recreation District Commission that a blank cents per 1,000 of assessed valuation levy for a 6-year term be placed on the ballot. And again, the date is in draft form. Here it's set for April, but we make that change at the second reading if we decide to. The following language be submitted to San Juan County's prosecuting attorney for the ballot proposition. Shall the Lopez Island Park and Recreation District be authorized to levy an annual property tax of blank cents or less per 1,000 of assessed valuation for the 6 years beginning in 2027 to provide funding for Lopez Rec program services and operations, including but not limited to funding the Lopez School Sports Program and after-school and summer programming for youth.
And that's summer programming. If I just question that because a proposal for a budget would be that we would supply that after school and the resource center would do the summer program. So if we pass that as is, it would make it. So I don't know how we deal with it now.
We've called it out-of-school programming in other settings, which gives you flexibility to decide when it takes place.
Yeah.
That includes after school and summer.
Right.
I think in other documents, it says out-of-school programs and not after school and summer.
Gives us flexibility. Yes, I like that.
Lynn, would you note that suggestion?
Yes. Let me.
It's in the italics toward the bottom.
Right. But what's the wording you want to have it be? Out of school programming?
Yeah, hyphenated out, -school programming for youth.
Thank you.
That builds in more flexibility.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, that's what I was
that
looking
makes
for.
sense. Other comments?
Yes, I do have comments. Firstly, the paragraph saying, whereas the Lopez Island School District has requested that Lopez Island Park and Recreation District provide funding for the Lopez School Sports Program due to the school's inability to fund this program. I have not seen that request. I wonder if that request could be shared with at least all the commissioners.
It's not a formal request. It's built into the levy. This was also taken from the agreement between Friday Harbor High School and Island Rec. It's the language they used. So the interlocal agreement in their case is what formalizes that request.
Then they had this exact wording.
Yes.
And well, then I would like to actually ask that we change the language because according to my little research, this would raise a potential concern regarding gift of public funds. So
it's an interlocal agreement, though.
Yeah, it's an interlocal agreement, and it should be framed as the rec district contracting with the school district to provide services in exchange for funding. So it's a collaboration agreement. Is that my understanding?
Yes, but that's what the next whereas says
Right. I think, yeah, and that one
about
is
through an
okay with
interlocal
me.
agreement.
Yeah. So do we need both? Do we need, because I feel like, our job is not to fund another district, but we can enter into an interlocal agreement with another district, so that the services can be provided by the school district that also benefits, that achieves the purpose
So
of the rec district too.
yeah, no, understood. I hear you. I think that the way this is written with semicolons and ands, this is all part of one resolution.
Right.
And so what it's saying is the school district has requested funding for Lopez School Sports Program, and then the next one says, and through an interlocal agreement, the school is prepared to offer use of school facilities to. That's how you formalize that agreement of funding for sports and access to facilities. That's why it's a semicolon. And
I understand what Bray's saying. It's what you're saying, Tom, is that there's never been a written request. Is that
Right. There has never been a
Yeah,
written
but
request.
it's a verbal request, so it doesn't have to be written.
Also, is I don't know. I'm just flagging. I would like to have a legal advice on this to see if this raises concerns regarding gift of public funds, because the way it's written. I think that the second one, whereas the Lopez School District is prepared to offer use of school facilities to the Lopez Island Park and Rec District through an interlocal agreement to provide recreational activities. Why can't we just in exchange for funding, in exchange for revenues from the district to the school?
Yeah, I think, well, let's start on the first one, that you're saying that you wanted something in writing from the school district, right?
The way it's written, the Island School District has requested that Lopez Island Park and Rec District, since I've been on the district commission, I have not received a request. That's how I read it.
Yeah, but you don't, what I'm saying is, you don't have to have a written request to make it formal on that. So Brady could say, what you're saying right now, that is the request. It doesn't matter.
But then this raises another concern for me, because the request should come from the board, and because you are holding two positions, one as the rec commissioner and another one as the superintendent, and I wonder if there's a conflict of interest in this case, and that because we don't have a governing policy documents yet, and that should include conflict of interest. I would love to see a request coming from the board, and how do we do this in a way that is legally bulletproof, so it won't be challenged later on.
I don't think it's going to be challenged. I think it's, because it's really what others have used. I think the question, if you want to raise it, is you need to propose language that you want to have, and then we vote on it, because I don't, and I think it's going to be hanging out there.
And these clauses don't stand alone. They all stand in relationship to each other. I think that's the answer that I would give to your concerns, is it's not saying this thing will happen, this gift of public funds, and then there's an agreement about facilities being made available. Those are all part of one resolution.
Right. I wonder if the language can be changed so that it's not read like, a district's inability, the school district's inability to pay for its own athletic program becomes the legal basis for us, for another district, for the Lopez Rec District, to try to help out. And that is, the gift of public fund doctrine.
Be careful what you're saying.
Yeah, and just to be clear, Chom, I'm very familiar with the gift of public funds doctrine in which you're referencing, but you're referencing it out of context, specifically given the very long chapter authorizing interlocal agreements. So gift of public funds is generally designated to be literally a gift of funding from levy revenue to a private organization. Interlocal agreements between existing districts is not only authorized but encouraged under Washington state law. So given all the references to interlocal agreements, I'm not worried about it. We could, if there was somebody wanted to clarify the language around the request to be less specific, that is a possibility. But in general, it has been modeled off the existing resolution from Island Rec, which was the first in our state to fund school sports through their park and rec district. So it has standing in its legal applicability. Interlocal agreements are very encouraged in Washington state and specifically called out in this resolution. So,
okay. So I would like them to maybe ask the other commissioners to consider a change in language. So instead of saying that, that the district, sorry, hold on. So instead of saying that, that the Lopez School District has requested the Lopez Island Park and Rec District provide funding for the Lopez School Sports Program, I would like to propose that we change it to contract, quote unquote, contract for the provision of community-wide youth athletic programs and facilities.
So maybe a suggestion, let's vote on what my change is and see if that sticks.
Well, this is a first read, so
Yeah.
we're not even voting on things. We're
Yeah.
making recommendations. It's
Okay.
the second read where we
I'll live.
finalize
Yeah,
language.
yeah.
So
Okay.
you've suggested a change in language, Chom,
Yeah.
for the clause, whereas the Lopez Island School District has requested.
Mhm.
And Lynn's note taking on that. So can you say out loud so she can note how you would like it to read? And we'll bring that to the
Okay,
second reading.
So first of all, so the last part of that clause, due to the school's inability to fund its program, I think that should be taken out.
Okay.
I feel like that,
I understand what
that-
you're saying. Again, that was straight from Friday Harbor and Island Rec's agreement, but I don't think it's essential language. So, so Lynn will note that, and then at the
Okay.
second read, we'll vote on whether we
And then
want.
the second part is that, we will change from provide funding for the Lopez School Sports Program. So that section is replaced with contract for the provision of community-wide youth athletic programs and facilities. This
It's
will
not-
just shift the focus from giving money to the school district to to procuring services and program through this collaboration interlocal agreement.
But the next clause says Lopez School District is prepared to offer use of school facilities to the Lopez Island Park and Recreation District through an interlocal agreement to provide recreational activities.
Yeah, that's why I think the two can be collapsed into one. And also the another consideration is that we want to make sure that the funding from Lopez Rec will provide broad benefits to the community, right? I think we have discussed about this before, and therefore, and also having seen the Island Rec and August Rec, Kit and I went to visit the August Rec and Island Rec, and one of the comments that we learned is that the collaboration between the rec district and the school district leads to the facilities are still going to serve the school as the first priority, but after that this scope for the community to also benefit from the facilities as well.
I think you're getting a little bit down in the weeds on this because we are going to get down in the weeds on the agreement between the school district.
Right.
And, what is in reality, in my mind,
Mhm.
is that we gain equal benefit to using their facilities, what we're giving them. I mean, it's a pretty equal thing.
Right. It's an
And value.
exchange,
So,
yeah.
so it's not, there's no gift of public funds anywhere close. And why I say caution you because that's a liable statement. Don't say that unless it's real. But it's not here. And I just don't think it's worth much change in this because we're going to have an interlocal agreement that's going to get real, what you're asking for, really, really specific.
Which is more accurate for an agreement between two public entities. It's not a contract. It's called an interlocal agreement specifically.
Okay.
And contracts are with not public
Nonprofit.
entity, well, and private, right? Anything
Okay.
that's not another public
Uh-huh.
entity like a taxing district. So
Right.
interlocal is saying you're two public entities agreeing to work together. A contract would be when a public entity contracts with a private or a nonprofit. So you'd said the word contract, but I think interlocal agreement is the vision between Lopez Rec and the school district.
I think I get what you mean. So can we change then to, instead of provide funding for the Lopez school sports program, change it to provide funding for the provision, so we provide funding to the school district for the provision of community-wide youth athletic programs and facilities? Or you don't think that's?
I don't think it's necessary, honestly, because the intent of what we're trying to do is what Brady said. I mean, I get what I think I get, but I don't think it's necessary. But
You
that's
can add a including and whatever phrase she just said. So don't exclude school athletics, but add a including.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I do like that. Provide funding for the Lopez School sports program and community-wide youth athletic programs and facilities.
that captures exactly.
Yeah. Actually, that
Not indicating it's a responsibility of the school district to provide that, but of
Right.
Lopez Rec to provide
we are
that.
providing
Yeah.
funding for the school.
Just whereas that
Well, I just want to be clear, providing funding, the school is not prepared to provide community-wide youth athletic programming.
Mhm.
We don't have elementary school coaches, for example, and that sort of thing. So the Lopez Rec is the provider of that,
Right.
of
But
those
but
activities.
okay, maybe we remove the programs, but maybe facilities then.
I know that's the next clause, though.
That's the next clause.
Yeah, I mean, it very specifically says offer use of school facilities to provide recreational activities.
Okay,
I don't think we're
okay,
disagreeing in
okay.
principle at
Yeah,
all. I think
okay.
we're just, we're wordsmithing
Yeah,
it, but
okay.
it doesn't feel like
Then,
we're,
then maybe the second clause, can we add community-wide recreational activities? So,
School district, Lopez
Sure.
Recreation District.
yeah, I mean,
want to add an additional clause after the out of school programming that indicates provision for community-wide, whatever language you're using there, Joe.
and also, I also have a question.
can we pause and make sure we do
Yeah.
a lock on this
Sorry.
one?
I was
Before
gonna
we
say,
do
I'm confused and I'm supposed to write it down. So
Yeah, that's why I thought we might pause for a moment.
what did we just agree to? Because I'm hearing some of us saying that the next whereas says to offer use of school facilities,
Yeah.
provide recreational activities, and there's no
Well,
limitation on
that's
the
the way-
recreational activities about age. So
What
it
Joan
seems like,
suggested would make her more comfortable, if I may, is just to add community-wide recreational activities to that
so,
clause.
okay, and the next one,
Question.
Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Like
just to
community-
use the school facilities, yeah,
Say
to
provide
provide
community recreation.
community-wide recreational activities.
Yeah, you got that, Lynn?
Got it.
Okay. And then you had another,
Yeah, I wonder, so this is taken out of I haven't seen it, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
But it's read like it's initiated by, everything is initiated by the school district. But I wonder, if
That's not how I read it.
uh,
No, I don't initiate, it's just saying that we're gonna have a cooperative agreement with the school district, essentially.
no, it's like, the school
Yeah.
district requested us, that we provide funding for the school, and then the school district is prepared to offer use in return. Because this is a resolution
Yeah, it's important.
for, that coming from the Lopez rec district. I wonder if the whole language should be restructured to make the Lopez district the more active part. So instead of,
So it would say like Lopez Rec has requested that Lopez School District provide sports programming? Like you just want to flip the
yeah,
actor?
so this reads like a resolution from the school district as opposed to a resolution from the Lopez rec district, because
Only those two clauses,
Yeah,
though. The
those
rest
two
of it
there's
is
more of it, if you keep going down, it's,
everything
providing
else.
Other things.
yeah, so like,
It-
like everything before this is all about Lopez rec
Yeah,
is doing
yeah.
this, Lopez rec is doing that, and then these two are like Lopez Island School District has requested the Parks and Rec District to do this and that, and then the next one, Lopez District is prepared to offer. So
Yeah.
it's like we are the passive one. I thought it should be flipped around so that we are actually, so like for example, instead of saying that Lopez Island School District has requested Lopez Park and Rec District to provide funding, why don't we say that Lopez Island Park and Rec District is responding to the school district's request to provide funding or something like that, so that we are the active one. Otherwise, at first thought, when I read this, I thought this was a resolution of the school district, just these two clauses.
I don't see it that way.
I don't see it that way either.
Yeah. I understand, what, I think I understand, I can say that, but, it's like, I think you're concerned about that the school district requested. You could use it, maybe replace another word instead of requested, is a need or asked or something, but that's your call. Because I'm fine with it as it is. The other part is that this is like just one part of a whole big resolution,
Right.
and
Yeah, other parts I'm fine. Yeah, this part is what like
it's a
really
big one
stopped
for
me.
us, though. It's really important. And I don't read it as that it's just this, for the school district. It's reading it's for us, but this is a big one in our resolution, what we're trying to do. So, yeah, maybe think about
So,
it.
but we did note, right, that due to the school's inability to fund this program, because I feel like that.
You'd have to ask Lynn. She's the one taking notes. I think she
Okay.
got that one.
Lynn, you got that one, right?
Yeah.
You're eliminating the due to the
She's nodding.
school's
Yes.
inability.
But remember, we see it again on Thursday. before
Right,
we-
we're going to read it and vote it on Thursday. So right now, I'm making notes in red as to what we have talked about changing. So right
Right.
now, the two changes that I have are to remove the phrase "due to the school's inability to fund this program," and in the next paragraph down, to add the word, hyphenated word, "community-wide" before recreational activities. So those are my current two changes that have been suggested that we would vote on
There's
next
one-
week.
There was one additional, and that was in the italicized at the bottom.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Of course.
You have that. Yeah. Okay. Out of-
Sorry. Yes. And the italicized, we were adding where it says school sports program and out of school programming and removing the phrase after school and summer programming. So changing after school and summer programming to out of school programming.
I think Lynn's doing it.
Yeah.
You don't-
You don't have to.
Yeah, Lynn is the secretary, and this is a first read of a document that needs to stay the way it is. So can you remove that?
So you won't see it in the Google Doc right now because I'm doing it in a Word doc just because I'm more comfortable.
Well,
Okay.
and it has to come back to the, it has to come back to the next meeting as a different doc. So we have to undo that comment, please, John, in this doc.
Right. I'm not changing that, Doc. I'm doing it in a Word.
This is a public record.
Any other proposed changes? Because I think we got a long agenda.
Okay, I have one more. Just wanted to note that the date there is just a placeholder because we have not decided, right, on the timing of the ballot.
So Chom, I said it at the beginning. This is the
Okay.
first read of a draft. It says draft at the top. And when I
Okay.
read that part,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said that's a placeholder. So
Yes,
I
yes,
think we've established that.
okay.
Decision is yet to be made.
Um, So okay, another question. This is just a question, not a comment on the language, but whereas the last one, whereas funding for out of school programming needs long-term stable funding, this to me reads like a finding, and I'm just curious about in terms of the procedure for that. Is that, do we need to I don't know, justify or anything like that? What's the legal requirement for
We
coming
could
up
just,
with
if I may, for a second. So resolutions in general they're defining the thought process for the need for funding and how it will be spent. So we can articulate the need in different ways, but just in general know that that is the intent of a resolution. So instead of saying it needs long-term funding, we could say will benefit from long-term funding. That's an easy fix to it. But no, too, just as a backdrop, the intention of this type of language in a resolution is to articulate the need and provide the solution.
And the solution is in the italics at the bottom, where it says
Yes.
services operations, including but not limited to funding the Lopez School Sports Program and out of school programming for youth. Right. So it's like laying out why we want to do it and then saying how it will be done.
Yeah, so then, right now, the whereas, the last one has the funding twice. I think is a repetition that should be eliminated. Can I suggest that we change it to out of school programming needs long-term stable financial support?
Did you catch that, Lynn? Lynn?
Sorry, I silenced myself. Stable financial support. And we're going to remove the first funding word, the first word, funding. So it would now read, out of school programming needs long-term stable financial support. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. First reading for the draft resolution 2601. Any further discussion before we move on to bylaws?
I think you read it for the public too, so that's good.
Oh, yeah, sorry, one more thing. Yes, so I feel like that resolution language, the ballot language, should, okay, this is something that I have a question about. So if the funding situation changes, say, like we just saw that HB 2049 has been approved, and that really allow for the school to, collect more levy funding, or there could be other legislative changes that might make the funding requirements of the school different. I wonder if there's a way to
Not in this document. What I'd recommend is in the agreement.
Yeah, the interlocal
No,
agreement would
like
change.
so we collect, let's say if the need to fund the school sports is already able to be met through other means, let's say, the
Understood.
legislative changes allow the school to actually be fully funded, then we are locked into allocating the funding to the school. Are we locked in?
We're not locked in. The interlocal agreement
It's
is what
going to.
defines the
Yeah.
relationship.
So don't worry about it in this document. It's not saying we're locked in. It's just saying what we're trying to do.
It says including but not limited to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the interlocal agreement that we'll be bringing forward, if we get funding for the.
Yeah, but this says there is to provide funding to the school sports program. So what if that is no longer needed?
Well,
This
yeah.
does not mean we have to do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
The interlocal agreement defines how it's done.
and that's the time to look at, to make sure we're covered both ways, the school district and us.
The Friday Harbor, I mean, we've looked at
Yes.
interlocal agreements. The agreement between Friday Harbor and Island Rec is also, it's a not to exceed. That's how it's written. The language is a not to exceed.
Okay.
So if they, and they're,
So if
and they bill for actual expenses. So if their expenses are less than the amount set aside, which is something like $442,000.
Yeah.
If it's
But-
less than that, they don't bill for that. And so I hear what you're saying. An interlocal agreement can be an annual agreement too. Like we decide what that looks like.
Mhm.
You know, we come to an agreement with the school district, but we decide what that looks like. If we want it to be annual because we're not sure what funding is going to look like year to year, that would be a way to remedy concerns about an agreement overfunding a school.
And I think, if money came forward for the school, they could use it in a lot of different ways to educational that are beyond the minimal scope they have to meet. And we still may choose to fund it, if the school has more.
Right. Yeah,
So,
but
but that's
okay,
what
if you feel that we are not locked in
We're not.
to,
We're not.
okay.
This
then-
is just that it's the resolution, what we're trying to do. As Jenny's saying, this is the ambition we have, this is the need we're filling, and this is how we're filling it. But it doesn't have specific, doesn't say a dollar amount, and the interlocal agreement will have all that. That will get on that one, as soon as we get funding.
It'd be a wonderful problem to have.
Yes, yes,
Let's
We'd all
let's
be-
agree on
we'd all be
that.
cheering.
Okay,
Anything else?
that's it.
Okay, so we'll take it to Lynn. Lynn's got notes. Can
Yes.
you provide the annotated version in advance of Thursday's meeting to the commissioners so that we can look at it for second read? And then I think
Yes,
we
we can.
go item by item and vote on approve each of the recommended changes
Yes.
on Thursday.
Well, and
Um,
Brady, as we prepare the documents for Thursday's meeting too, we can provide, based upon these recommendations, an updated resolution for consideration too.
Yeah. I mean, we could do it, you could do it all, or you can do it item by item.
Yeah.
Okay. Bylaws is our next agenda item.
When we read it, could you consider reading it so everybody?
bylaws?
Yeah.
Okay.
And while you're getting it up, so Brady and I served on the committee for the bylaws, and we've gone through this together, and it looks good to me. And so this is the.
It's a lot of technical language to read out loud. I can do that
Okay.
for the record.
I don't know.
Okay. This is draft, by the way, first reading draft bylaws for Lopez Rec. Let's see. So number one, district name, Lopez Island Park and Recreation District, hereinafter the district or Lopez Rec. Two, the purpose, in accordance with RCW section 3669.010, the district as a municipal corporation shall have the purpose of providing leisure time activities and facilities and recreational facilities of a nonprofit nature as a public service to the residents of Lopez Island. The term recreational facilities means parks, playgrounds, gymnasiums, swimming pools, field houses, bathing beaches, stadiums, golf courses, automobile racetracks and drag strips, coliseums for the display of spectator sports, public campgrounds, boat ramps, and launching sites, public hunting and fishing areas, arboretums, bicycle and bridle paths, senior citizen centers, community centers, and other recreational facilities. That language is straight out of the RCW. Number 3, governing members, the commission. In accordance with RCW Chapter 3669, 5 elected commissioners shall serve the people of Lopez Island in positions numbered 1 through 5 during 4-year terms, except that the initial commissioner number 4 and the initial commissioner number 5 shall serve during a 2-year term. And that's from the San Juan County website. Number 4, offices. In accordance with RCW Section 3669-120, the commission shall nominate and elect officers from among the 5 commissioners to serve in the following roles: chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. Number 5, parliamentary authority. The commission shall recognize the authority of the principles of order for deliberative organizations as conceived in Robert's Rules of Order, modern edition, where they are applicable but not inconsistent with other provision of these bylaws. Number 6, regular public meetings. In accordance with RCW Section 3669-120, the commission shall hold regular public meetings at least monthly. Regular public meetings shall be conducted on the first Thursday of each month. That was an agreement we came to at an earlier meeting, at a time and place to be determined beforehand. Notice of such meetings shall take place in accordance with RCW Chapter 4230, the Open Public Meetings Act. Number 7, special meetings. Special meetings may be conducted from time to time and shall be conducted at all times pursuant to the spirit of the Open Public Meetings Act. Special meetings shall be held on no less than 24-hour notice. Number 8, quorum. A quorum shall be considered to be any 3 commissioners together, either in person or remotely, by means of real-time telecommunication. However, a quorum must consist of at least 1 commissioner present in person. Number 9, deliberative rights of the chair. The chair or a commissioner acting as chair shall have the right to introduce motions and resolutions. This is an exception to the procedure in Robert's Rules of Order and is intended as an expedient. Number 10, amending the bylaws. Amendments to the bylaws shall be affirmed by no less than 4 votes. Number 11, voting. Voting will take place only when a quorum is present and only in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, RCW Chapter 4230. I've now read the draft bylaws into the public record. Open for discussion. First read, open for discussion.
I think it's, I liked it. It's done simply, clearly, and it also basically just following what the laws are. And I want to straighten out, we had a community member that said we had to do this before we passed any legislation as a false statement, and needs to be corrected by whomever can do that. But this is a nice step to have, and it's something we can refer back to. So thank you for the work you've done, Brady.
And to you.
I have a question. Is there
Yep.
is there a provision in the laws, or how do we handle if a commissioner leaves before their commission term is up?
That's in the stated laws
Yeah. That was on
and
that.
how we would appoint them. We're already bound by these laws. Any RCW reference, we're already bound by them, but it further articulates some clarity in terms of Robert's Rules of Order, and so
Right,
we're already bound by these laws. They already direct us.
Yeah, I wasn't asking for anything to be changed. I was literally asking, what is the law?
Got
Oh yeah. So that the website
Yeah.
that's under asterisk here is the elected officials website for San Juan County, and it outlines. That's where we found that San Juan County has Commissioner 4 and 5 serving a 2-year term initially. The 2 other things that are different from RCWs strictly, but within the RCWs, is that, or actually Robert's rules is that the chair can make a motion. In pure Robert's rules of order, the chair is not supposed to be the one to make a motion. But with a board of 5, it says in here too, it's an expedient. And that amending the bylaws takes 4 votes, not a quorum of 3. So there's a couple contextualized things that we came to that are different, but within the law.
I have a overall big picture comment. First of all, I think the what prompted this meeting actually is the fact that that I brought up the concern as expressed by a community member that that we don't have basic foundational policies yet governing transaction of board business. Just to quote the RCW 36.69.120, it says adopt. The duty of the commissioners is to adopt policies governing transaction of board business, keeping of records, resolutions, transactions, findings, and determinations, which shall be on public record in accordance with RCW blah blah blah. But so my read of that is that without these policies and documents in place, we risk several complications. First, procedural integrity. Any formal determination, particularly one involving setting a levy that has significant impacts on our constituents in terms of the taxes that have to be collected from these people, we could be subject to a legal challenge if the public can argue that we have not yet established the framework, for making determinations. Like we still are not clear about what are we doing regarding conflict of interest. What do we do as a commission when that appears, or records? We don't have a place yet where public records can be easily accessed by the public. There are a bunch of things that are policies that would be good to have in place before we make such an important decision on the levy. And also in terms of the audit risk, we are required to be audited by the Washington State Auditor's Office. And as a junior taxing district, we need to have a formal records retention or financial policies, which requires that we have, right now we are relying on Lopez Rocks, but Lopez Rocks is not a website that we have custody or control over. So does that, meet the requirements of the Open Public Act? And then the last one, public due process. Voters would deserve to see a published governance framework on how we make decisions as a commission, including ethics, and how we post meeting notices and so on before being asked to approve a new tax. So, particularly since we are actually operating without any insurance coverage at all, personally, I really feel exposed for not having the right order of things. We need some protection from procedures, from policies, to make sure that we follow them so that we won't have any vulnerability of being sued or being found by the auditor's office to be out of compliance. So that's my concern for the overall lack of policies. So bylaws is just one tiny part of the governing documents, but we need conflict of interest policy, we need public records policy, we need all kinds of policies that have to be in place.
Those are all laws, though. There are laws
Yeah,
about
there's a
public
law, yeah.
records. We've all been trained in the public records, and you're the public records officer,
I am, yes.
right?
That's
So
why
if
I'm
people
concerned.
make requests, you provide the records.
No, it's more than that though.
It is
So-
more than that, but I'm just saying, like, just to make
Yeah.
sure you know that
Yeah.
that piece of it.
And the training that you need to go through for that.
I did training.
Okay,
I did the
good.
training. Yeah.
Good.
See, like we got the benefit of having access to the policy that AUKUS Island Park and Rec District have, and they have very extensive policies. But they actually said that they don't use bylaws, they use policies. And what we need, what the law says here is that we need a set of policies governing transaction, our resolutions, determinations.
So I would like to add something to this. That law is, it is what we read into the public record on our very first meeting, because it is the power vested in commissioners. The law articulates that very clearly. The law does not say you must create a policy for everything you do. It says that is one of the powers of commissioners, is to create policies. So we're so benefited by the great state of Washington, which has provided us with the legal framework to enact our business. And that is the ultimate authority in how we conduct our business. And it is clearly articulated in a set of RCWs to which we are beholden and in response to. So the reason we read that at our first meeting is so that we could clarify among ourselves as commissioners, as those are our duties. Those are the powers that we have as commissioners, and those are to develop policies. Policies get changed and updated and developed over time. They're not static, and we do have some of that work ahead of us as commissioners. But it's not a sequential thing that has to happen in a certain order. We are just vested with the power to develop policies. So that would be my input on that.
Yeah, I want to state too that specific policies, I don't know what that means. And you and I had a discussion about that on our tour. Other than what it's required in the RCWs, that you have to have officers for the certain things, and we've done that. Set our meeting date, we've done that. And so what you said, Orcus has policies, but on the other hand, San Juan doesn't have bylaws or policies, and they've been legislating for
They have policies. Yeah.
40 years. So it doesn't give us what you're saying. I want to make clear. You're saying that we should have these policies before we do any legislation, like a levy. I don't agree with that. We have the power to levy without having all the policies in place. I completely disagree with this. So, I think it's good. And as Jenny said, we will be doing those things, but it's not sequential that we have to do that before we do this. And if you can name specific policies that we missed, I'd love to hear it.
Like conflict of interest.
The state law, it's a state law, conflict of interest. So, there's probably 1,000, at least 100 laws that are out there that govern us. So, I happen to, I think you're trying to be safe, and I take it as that you're trying to help us, but I have a disagreement, because we have the power to legislate without specific. We've already done policies that we need to do
Within the law.
within the law. So if you can come up with a specific policy and it shows us where we need to do it, I'm all for it. Let's research and get the specific policy that we're missing.
Yeah, so I'm just listing, based on my read of the policies that AUKUS has adopted. We need conflict of interest policy. We need
No, they have it. It's not that we need, because there's a difference. What you're saying is suggesting we have those, and I don't disagree with you. But don't say that we have to have them, because they're not required. They are there for what they've done.
But the policy would then tell us what happens when there's a conflict of interest. Like are we going to, who declares the conflict of interest? Is it self-declaration, or is it declared by the community? There are details.
Okay, so that's one. Then
Yeah.
table that, because I think we could find what else.
Okay. Notices of availability of meeting packets. These are not necessarily details that are enshrined in the law, but something
The
that
policies.
are in the
Yeah.
policies.
I agree with you. Policies are
Yeah.
good.
The
But,
open meetings has a 24-hour
That's a
notice.
minimum requirement, but that doesn't mean that we
but that's again, a
can have.
policy. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
interrupt you.
right.
You know, we all agree that policies are needed.
Right.
And we're gonna work on it, but, you know, what I'm concerned about is word out that we can't legislate a levy without doing certain policies. And if you can find them, you know, let's talk about it, but I don't think they're there.
Let's say if our policy is to make sure that community members have access to the meeting packets so that they can provide meaningful public inputs, public comments before we make a decision. See, we don't have that policy, and therefore, like right now, for example, meeting packets are not available. You know, actually, the draft resolution language and the draft bylaws that we are reading just now were not available to me until just 3 hours ago. You know, if we were to have some requirements about, okay, before meeting, you know, let's make sure that meeting packets are posted at least a day ahead of time or 7 days ahead of time, whatever, or that you know, like if we have policy about public records where where we need to post things at certain place.
And we don't disagree, you know, on
Yeah.
on policies. It's just that we're on bylaws, or what are we on the agenda?
The agenda
items?
item is bylaws.
Bylaws. So I think you're getting off track a bit.
No, I'm just saying that even with the bylaws is not enough as a governance framework in order to lead us to see. That's why I disagree with you.
Yeah.
Legislative power is significant to exercise to come to a final determination without any, you know, as I read, you know, to you that we are risking ourselves
I
as
disagree.
commissioners without any insurance policy. We are really risking
That risk-
ourselves.
Sure.
Uh,
But you know, it says in what you'd read, specific policies. And I'm asking you, if you can come up with specific policies we're missing before we can do a levy, let me know. Until that time,
those are the ones that
the policy, it's just a policy that we're missing that you're looking
Yeah,
for.
no, there's a difference between a policy that we develop that guides our work as a commission and a policy that is mandated by law to have. In our first meeting together as commissioners, we addressed those mandated by law in terms of appointing our officers, setting up our regular meeting schedule, adopting Robert's Rules of Orders. Those are the essential.
Number 3, is adopt policies governing transaction of board business, resolutions, transactions, findings, determinations.
That's the work of the
So-
commission. I
Yes,
think we're all
right.
agreeing that's the work
Right.
of the commission.
So
But I don't think I also don't think I think the RCWs provide the guardrails for us to make our decisions. We're making them within the law. There's conflict of interest RCWs. There's, you know, the policies you're talking about would have to work within the relevant RCW. So you can't make a code of conduct conflict of interest policy that goes against the RCW. Until you have that, you've got the RCWs guiding we can't break the law.
Yeah,
Right.
Lynn have a comment.
So that was going to be my comment, is for the time being, we are covered by the laws that are already in existence. And what our position is right now is that we are not funded. So we're not going to be making decisions about if we're going to give money to X or Y and how we're going to make those decisions and how we're going to get public input on those things. And I think public input is important on those things. But quite honestly, right now, we're discussing a timely matter of, are we going to put this levy on the ballot or not? And if we decide to put it on the ballot, we then have a month or two to get more input from people to try to bring people around to whatever view we come to an agreement on. And then if we get funded, we have almost, if I understand it correctly, almost a year before we're going to get the money. And we have a year to sort through. And are there policies that we should come up with that are not specifically covered by the RCWs? So I feel like, you know, like Jenny said, policies, sort of accrue over time. And in the meantime, we're protected by the RCWs. And insurance is a whole other issue. And I agree with you. We need to get insurance as soon as we can. But again, our hands are kind of weirdly tied because we don't have any money. And there's rules about that too, as I understand it, of what we can personally provide or whatever. But I agree that for now, we've done what we need to do to put something on the ballot, and the voters get to comment on that with their vote.
I
They
think
don't
that,
agree.
yeah, I'm sorry, Glenn, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I'm done.
So a policy, let's say it's that we have 2 readings, right? Specific, that we try to do that for a resolution. The law says, as I understand the law, it's 1 reading, 1 time, and that goes forward. It's prudent to do 2, and that's what we're trying to do, to be prudent. But it's not the law, you know, and it's the same with the policies. The policies are important, and I don't downgrade them, but, you know, to be able to have the statement that we shouldn't be passing legislation, i.e. the levy, without having specific policies, well, I don't agree there. Because the policies are important, they're coming, but they're not there yet.
Well, you know, like what Lynn said about the need to get public input. And if we have policy around that, then we might be actively seeking public inputs before making the final determination. But we are not, and that's why.
How are we not? I'm sorry. I don't understand how we're not seeking public input. People come to meetings and they speak. People go on Facebook and they speak. People go on Lopez Rocks and they speak.
Yeah, is that,
So I disagree totally with we're not getting public input. And what I view is whatever decision we come to by Thursday, our next job is to interact with the public and explain to them why we made the decision we made, why we want people to vote for the levy whenever that occurs. I assume we are all in agreement that we need a levy. And so we have time for that. But right now, I feel like we're getting input. We're hearing from people, their opinions. And, you know, I'm taking those into consideration. I took notes on every single person that's spoken the last 3 meetings so that I could go back and look. You know, what are people saying? What should we be concerned about? I look at all the Facebook comments. I look at all the, so I am taking that into consideration personally, and I believe everybody else is as well. So I disagree that we're
Yeah.
not getting any public input.
Yeah,
Well-
and I appreciate everyone's comments here. I would just remind us that the agenda item currently before us is a consideration of the first draft of the bylaws. You know, I don't know, Brady, you're running this meeting while I'm remote, but if there's not a motion to specifically amend the bylaws or make an addition, then I think we can entertain that adoption at the next meeting, because we did say this meeting would end at 4:30, and there's one more agenda item here.
It was admittedly big picture feedback from Chom. Like that's how we ended up where we ended up. So, but yeah, and between now and the second read, if there's further specific feedback, it can still be incorporated in the second read.
Yes,
So-
so number 9, yeah, I do have on number 9, number 10.
Okay, we have 6 minutes.
Okay. I'll try to be fast. I just have questions, the chair. So this is an exception to the procedure in Robert's Rules of Order.
Number 9.
Yeah, number 9.
Yep.
The deliberative rights of the chair. I'm just curious, when the chair is the one making the motion, does that mean that the chair role is then passed on to another person, so that we can be sure that we get to hear from supportive side or opposing sides?
A motion opens discussion in Robert's rules. A motion is not approval. When someone makes a motion, it has to be seconded. So 2 people
there
have to
still be
agree
a
to move it
second.
forward,
Okay.
and then you go to discussion.
Okay.
So it doesn't preempt the process. It just, in typical Robert's rules, the chair cannot make motions. And then this is saying, for expediency's sake, the chair can make the motion. Still has to be seconded,
Okay.
still has to be discussed.
Okay,
Yeah,
got
yeah.
it. All right, then.
Yeah, and just a little bit on that, Robert's Rules of Order does further clarify that for small boards, it's acceptable that chairs make motions and vote. But it's, I think, totally appropriate to articulate that here specifically. So there's general parliamentary procedure that is developed through Robert's Rules of Orders for large parliamentary settings, and then there's further clarification for small boards where it's expected that we move things along in a different fashion for expediency and efficiency.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, then number 10, I know that this is a divergent from standard Roberts rule where typically it requires about 2/3 of vote with notice. I would like to amend the language to say that, so number 10 reads, amending the bylaws, amendments to the bylaws shall be affirmed by no less than 4 votes. Typically, this, the requirement is 2/3 of the vote, and we have 5 people. 2/3 is actually 4 votes. So I would like to actually, looking at, contingency, in case we have some member of the board missing, or we have, some commissioners missing, or some are not able to attend. I feel like 2/3, keeping it as Robert's rules recommends, is actually already, effectively is 4 votes. But then we allow for flexibility in case, we don't have the number of commissioners. Let's say commissioners are not, the positions are not filled, or anyway, so would it be okay to suggest, so I like to propose that we amend the language, say, to read, amendments to the bylaws shall be, shall require a 2/3 vote with notice.
So if a quorum's 3, you're saying that 2 commissioners can change the bylaws.
If
A quorum is 3,
right.
and 2/3 is required.
Mhm.
Then the governance structure can be changed by 2
Yeah,
commissioners.
with notice. That's why I think that the
With
key is
notice,
with
it's
notice.
always with notice though, right? Everything has to, public records requires notice. I think 4 is a higher bar. I think it's interesting. It feels inconsistent with some of what you were advocating for before around governance being a high bar, right? I think the 4 votes is a high bar, and I think
Well,
that
high bar, except then let's say if the majority would like to, there can be a situation where 2 people can always block any changes that might be
correct.
like the majority might deem appropriate to change. And
Yeah,
anyway,
I mean,
just want
that's
that
very
out of the-
specifically why it says 4, right? Is to make it difficult to change bylaws, right? To make it, to force at least closer to consensus
I mean,
on
this is
changes
such
to the
such a
governance
minor thing, and
structure.
there's really nothing to the bylaw. So whatever, I'm just wondering if we could allow for situations,
So-
unforeseen circumstances.
So I think, what we've done is you read what you want in there, and we'll vote on it next meeting, second reading.
Okay.
So you need Lynn to be able to write it down.
Lynn, number 10 in bylaws, did you catch suggestion that it read 2/3 instead of affirmed by no less than 4 votes? Oh, you might be muted again, Lynn. Just making sure you got that suggestion.
I'm trying to nod while I type.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'm
I
trying
didn't
to
want
look
you to
it up.
hear, I didn't think you needed to hear my background noise. Okay,
Our
so-
last item then is communications subcommittee, and this is kind of an expansion of the idea of a website and other forms of communicating and storing information for public access. We might have time. We have 1 minute. Do we want to form a,
I think we have to be out here by 5, so I think we could.
they have to set up though for a 5
They said-
o'clock start. Yeah,
Okay,
Heather said they've
okay,
got some setup
okay.
to do with the owl and everything.
Okay.
So
Jenny had some thoughts.
Communication Subcommittee. Jenny, do you want to speak about that? Do you think we should try and form that, or should we table that? And because this is something that is relevant to the website that we keep tabling.
Like us just to, yeah, no, I would like us to just appoint a communication subcommittee. I know that, you know, I wanted to post the meeting minutes to Lopez Rocks, and there's just some very basic things that I think would be good to appoint a communications subcommittee to have official commission approval to develop a basic website, to post approved things to Lopez Rocks, and can also bring in some community members on communication subcommittee if so desired. So that was the idea behind it, just to get the ball rolling, and then we'll come back to the further commission to clarify any movement on that.
Okay.
So yeah, I think Jenny should be on that committee. So just she is our chair and was part of the communication team we had before. Good writer, smart person, and I think that makes sense.
It sounds like Kit nominates Jenny as one
Yes,
member
yes.
of Communication Subcommittee.
That's great. Yeah.
Are there other nominations?
I'm not on a subcommittee, so if you need someone to serve, I would be happy to pitch in.
Yeah, I would say Lynn or Kit, just because they're not on a subcommittee yet, would be great too. So I'm.
Yeah,
Kit's
Kit
on.
just did bylaws.
Although I mean, that's a sunsetted committee. We might be done with the bylaws on Thursday. So
I do have the most time of anybody, but I like bringing on some community members for that because that's really helpful. And I think any commissioner could give information towards that. It's just that it needs full commission to approve what's going on there.
And would this lead to also an adoption of the website?
yeah,
Is
and I think
this-
policy around what gets posted on a website, an agreement.
And also I mean, I created a personal website since after the first meeting, and it's been on the agenda, but we have never had time to discuss it. And I would like to again offer that as a resource to the commission so that we have a way to, you know, make sure that people can access information that should be, you know,
Yeah.
made public.
Well,
for
so this is a
transparency.
communication subcommittee. Do you want to nominate yourself for the communication
Well, they already
subcommittee?
do, but I would like to offer the website. Yeah.
There are already two, but they're not approved yet. So we have, and I think Lynn didn't get nominated technically. You want to nominate yourself, Lynn? Is that what you were saying essentially?
I was saying that if someone wanted me to do it and wanted to nominate me, I would accept the nomination.
I nominate Lynn for the subcommittee. So there are two commissioners, but that doesn't mean it has to only be those two.
I'm okay with those two,
Okay.
but I just want to offer
Understood.
the
Yeah.
use of the.
We've all seen the website, so they know it exists, right?
Yes.
So yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes, yes.
Okay, so we have nomination for Jenny and Lynn to serve as commissioners on the communications subcommittee. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. And that would be hopefully reporting back to the committee, maybe not Thursday, because we'll have a full agenda Thursday, but probably at the March meeting. If we could have a communications.
Just a little something to say of first steps that we've initiated. So
I didn't want to
hopefully-
overcommit you guys, but
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. But fingers crossed. But thank you for that. And Lynn will be in touch to talk about next steps, and then we'll bring that to the full commission for reporting back.
And to reiterate, our next meeting will be adding public comment and a presentation of comments to Thursday's
And
agenda.
it's Thursday, 5 p.m., correct?
Is it 5?
I thought
5 p.m. Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
5 p.m.
okay.
So I have a
Yeah,
question.
Brady, you and I need to finalize that agenda. But yes,
Yeah.
it was already on there to have a budget committee presentation and to have public comment. So those things are totally appropriate there, but we'll finalize that agenda. And just to reiterate, any suggestions for additional agenda items can be submitted to me from other commissioners.
I have a quick question. So now that we have first readings of two documents, bylaws and the resolution language, so are these considered now public documents?
Yes, because they've been read into the record.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And they will get second read on Thursday. That'll be on the agenda as well. All right, we are at 4:35. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So
So
moved.
moved.
I think
Second.
give it to Kit, Lynn.
Okay.
And motion to adjourn doesn't require a second. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thumbs up from Jenny. I think. All right. We are adjourned at 4:35 p.m. Thank you, everybody. Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
for-
Thank you.